Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So let's talk college. In today's video, I'll be going through my high school stats. These are the stats that helped me get into UCLA, UC Berkeley, and some other schools I'll list right here. And no, I did not apply to any Ivies because I knew I wanted to study on the West Coast. I'll be going over the classes I took in high school, my test scores, so like SAT and AP exams, and then I'll also be talking about the extracurriculars I did. So the timestamps for each of those three categories will be listed below. I just finished my freshman year at UCLA, so not too long ago I was doing the whole college application process, and trust me, I know how much of a struggle it can be. It is a lot of work, but I mean, looking back now, I know it was all worth it. So yes, I thought I'd make this video because I know that for me, when I was applying to colleges, I was really interested to see kind of like what stats got other people into certain schools. But before I begin, I just want to preface by saying I'm not guaranteeing admission to any certain college with these stats. These are just the stats that I had and it's what worked for me, but of course, college admissions is such a toss-up and there's no cookie cutter perfect way to get into a certain college, so what worked for one person might not work for another person. I also want to say in no way am I trying to brag or flex or anything like that. Not that I really have that much to flex, but I just wanted to give you guys some perspective, so please don't feel bad if your stats aren't the same as me or something. So yes, just want to preface by saying that. So without further ado, let's get right onto the video. Alright, starting off with my high school. First, I'm going to give you some background as to what my high school is like. I went to a private college prep high school in the state of Washington. My high school was very competitive. There were so many smart people in my grade. To give you a little bit more of context, my school is ranked the #2 private school in Washington state, with the #1 private school being the school that Bill Gates went to. So yeah, there's not really much to compete there. But yeah, that just kind of puts into perspective that my high school was very competitive, and my school is also really small. I would say there's about 70-ish people per grade. The grading system at my high school was a bit different, so instead of the letter scale where you get like A's, B's, C's, etc., we had a scale from 0 to 100. So in that way, we also didn't really have like the classic GPA like 4.0 or 3.5 or something. Our GPA that we submitted to colleges was on the scale of 0 to 100. So out of 100, my GPA was 93, and that is the unweighted score. And then my school also didn't rank students, so there was no class ranking. In terms of classes, so I'm sure that the main thing you probably want to know is like what AP classes I took. This is another thing that my high school is pretty different. So we had a maximum of 3 APs we could take each year, which I know is like different than my friends who go to public schools who take like 5 APs every year. But yeah, I'm not sure the exact reason why my high school capped it at 3 APs per year, but I don't know anyone who took more than 3 APs. If anything, the average, I would say most people would take around 2 APs per year. So that's what I did. I took 2 APs my junior year and then 2 APs my senior year. We did have honors classes though, so I took some honors classes throughout my time in high school from like 9th to 12th grade. Overall, I would say I was a pretty good student. I worked really hard at school, always made sure I did my homework, and I stayed on top of assignments. Except for 1B, I did get all A's throughout my high school career. Before I go into depth, I'll just show you the general classes I took. So here's my senior year classes, and then my school was on the semester system, so we had grades for first semester and second semester. Here's my junior year classes, my sophomore year classes, and then my freshman year classes. So going back to AP classes, in my senior year I took AP Calc BC and AP Econ. I did not take the AP Econ exam, honestly, just because towards the end of the year I had already heard back from colleges and I just got really lazy. I wish I'd taken the AP exam so I don't have to take intro Econ courses now that I'm at UCLA, but I did take the AP Calc BC exam though, and that one I scored a 3. Wasn't very proud of that. I think I could have done better if I studied more, but again, as I said, my senioritis hit really hard towards the end of the year, and not gonna lie, BC Calc is that was rough. My senior year, I also did an independent study. It's basically a class where you make the curriculum by yourself and you have a teacher to guide you, but for the most part, you're just like teaching yourself or like learning from the textbook or online. So the independent study that I did was Japanese, and I did that because my school didn't offer Japanese and I wanted to take it. And from what my college counselor told me, taking an independent study would be great to write on my college resume because it shows that you have initiative, you're willing to learn, and have that independence to pursue an independent study. So I decided like, why not? I want to learn Japanese anyways, and I have an extra free period, so I did that in senior year as well. My junior year, I took AP Lang and Composition, and I also took AP Calc AB. For the AP Calc AB exam, I scored a 5, and then for the AP English Language and Composition exam, I scored a 4. Sophomore and freshman year, I didn't take any APs, which is typical for my high school. Maybe someone might take like 1 AP sophomore year, but for the most part, people will take 2 to 3 APs in their junior and senior year at my school. But sophomore year, I did take honors math, so that was honors pre-calc, and then freshman year, I took honors math as well, so that was honors algebra 2. Alright, moving into the test section. So most colleges will either require that you submit the SAT or the ACT. I submitted the SAT with essay. Not all schools require essay, but I took it and I thought I did well, so I decided to submit it anyways. Starting my sophomore year, I took the PSAT, which is kind of like a practice SAT, and then the practice ACT, and I just did that to see where my baseline score was and to see how much I can improve with studying. I would also recommend doing this so that you can see what kind of format you like better, like whether you like the SAT format better or the ACT format better, because they are very, very different, and sometimes just one style works better for a certain person. So for me personally, I thought the SAT worked a lot better, and then my scores pretty much came out equivalent when I took the practice exams, so I decided to go with the SAT. By doing that, you can solely focus all your energy on preparing for one exam, and that way you're not like splitting your energy like 50% to the SAT and 50% to the ACT, because in the end, you only have to submit one to colleges anyways. So yes, I'd highly recommend seeing which one works well for you, and then going with that, going all in, studying for that exam, and then submitting that exam score. The SAT score that I ended up submitting in my application was a 1460, and the breakdown for that was 700 for the reading and writing section, and then 760 for math, and then my essay score total was a 20. But let me tell you, that score did not come easy. It took a while to get there. I studied a lot for the SAT. First, I was never a good test taker, was not blessed with the test-taking genes, and honestly, I don't think in the end my test score is what got me into certain schools. I think what really shone through my application was the extracurricular section and the essays that I wrote. So if you're interested and you want me to go into more depth about my UC application or my Common App application, or even just some like general test prep or college app skills, then I'd love to make that video, so just let me know in the comments below. But yes, back to testing. So wasn't that strong of a test taker. The first time I took the PSAT my sophomore year, I scored a 1190. I had no idea what this meant. I didn't know if it was a good score or a bad score. My parents didn't go to undergrad in the United States, so they didn't take the SAT. So no one in my family really knew like how to gauge whether that was a good or bad score. But as I said, I went to a very competitive high school, so people were talking about what scores they got on their PSATs. So I soon realized that I had a lot of work to do. So after that, throughout the rest of my sophomore year, the summer after my sophomore year, and then into my junior year, I worked with an SAT tutor, but by no means do I think that you need to hire a tutor in order to improve your score. There's so many free online resources, for example, like Khan Academy, but yes, for me, I worked with an SAT tutor. We met, I would say, like 2 to 3 hours every week, and outside of our sessions, I would do homework and practice problems in like an SAT test prep book. I'd work on that, I'd say like 3 to 5 hours every week. So as I said, I did this throughout my sophomore year, and then I took the PSAT again at the beginning of junior year. I was really happy to see that my PSAT score had increased. It had gone to a 1360, but this was a PSAT score, so I still need to take the real SAT. So I took my first real SAT exam in March of my junior year. That one I scored a 1360 again, so the same score as my PSAT exam. I improved a lot over the past year, but I still felt like I could do better, so I kept studying, and I took the SAT again in May of my junior year. and that was the exam where I scored a 1460 and I was happy with the score, so I decided to submit that one. I definitely would recommend that you take the SAT or ACT, whatever exam you're submitting, that you take the exam more than one time, because every time you take the exam it's going to be different questions are going to be asked, so just by probability you're going to do better on one exam than the other. And the more exams that you take, the more exam scores that you have, so you can send the best one that you get. Also, another reason why I highly recommend taking the test more than once is because a lot of schools will superscore. Superscore is basically where they take the top score from each category. So let's say you do better in the reading and writing section of the first time you take the exam, but you do better in the math section the second time you take the exam. So superscoring will allow you to take that best score from one section and the best score from another section and combine those to send to your colleges. However, I would also recommend that you don't take the exam so many times that you get burnt out, because exams are really long, they can be really tiring, and at a certain point you'll just see that your exam scores will plateau and there's not really any extra benefit of taking the exam like 10 times. My college counselor told me that the sweet spot is to take it 2 to 4 times, so just keep that in mind when you're preparing and signing up for the exams. In terms of SAT subject tests, I actually didn't take any. Luckily, all the schools I applied to did not require the SAT subject tests, so thank God, because a lot of my friends had to take those exams and just extra work, and they said it was a struggle, so I'm very thankful I did not have to take those. And then I already said what AP exam scores I got earlier when I was talking about my classes, but just as a summary, I'll just list them right here. Now moving beyond the numbers and going into my extracurriculars, I'd say I was pretty involved in high school. The first thing that I listed was that I was part of the varsity golf team, and I was in this for freshman, sophomore, and junior year. And then I was team captain my junior year, so that's definitely something I made sure to include in my application. I did a variety of clubs throughout my high school career, but I'd say my main club was during my senior year. I was one of the co-leaders of Forefront Club, which was my high school's mental health club. Besides putting in my extracurricular section, I also wrote about it in my essays. So I talked about the different workshops we would lead or what kind of initiatives we would do around campus to increase mental health awareness. I also had a job that I started at the end of my junior year. I was a cashier at Target, and so I worked a lot throughout the summer between my junior and senior year. I say I worked around like 20-ish hours, and then I also worked throughout my senior year, but a lot less because I was busy with school. I'd say that throughout the school year I worked around like 10-ish hours a week. Another thing I included was my community service. I've always been really passionate about community service, so it's something that I was pretty involved in throughout high school. My freshman and sophomore year, I volunteered at my local food bank, and I would do that for 2 to 3 hours every week. And then my junior and senior year, I worked with a variety of organizations, with my main one being at a local like baby clothes donation center. And then the last thing I have on my extracurriculars list is I started my own photography business. So during my junior year, I got really into photography, and I noticed a lot of people were wanting just like photos of themselves, or specifically like senior photos. So yeah, I would just take people's senior photos and charge them, and I was able to make a business out of that. It was a pretty small thing like compared to my other parts of my application, but I still want to include it because I did want to major in business. So by including that, I could show my more like business side and kind of how I've explored that area of interest. Alright, that is it for today's video. I hope this gave you some more insight into the stats that I used and what got me into certain colleges. I just want to emphasize that there are so many things that go into your application. I really don't think there's one cookie cutter perfect way to get into college. I would say overall the strong points of my application were the extracurriculars and the essays, because the essays I was able to use my voice to explain those extracurriculars. I don't think the numbers, like the grades or the SAT score that I had, was anything like exceptional. Nowadays there are so many smart people. What really makes your application stand out is how you use your voice to show what you've accomplished and what you're passionate about. And obviously, again, I'm not a college admissions person, so I can't say like, oh, this will definitely work, or oh, this won't work, or something. But I have gone through the entire college admissions process, and I'm here now. I love the school that I go to. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Now that summer, I'm planning on making some more applying to college videos, so definitely subscribe if you'd like to see those. Also, definitely feel free to let me know what certain types of videos you want. So if that's like SAT prep or essay writing tips or just general Common App or UC app application tips, I would love to make videos about those too. And yeah, until then, I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!